the one and only Ernest Thomas?
This is he. the late Ernest Thomas.
You know what? That's all right. How are you doing, Ernest?
I'm doing great, man. Just blessed, supernaturally blessed, and I'm praying that you are too.
I am. And I got to tell you, I've probably been waiting close to 40 years for this moment.
Oh, man, that's awesome.
What's happening literally has probably changed my life.
Oh, my God. Man, thank you. And I hear that. I do hear that a lot, from the people just on the street and through Facebook, and it's overwhelming. I
bet. How did going? I mean, what's it? 35 years now, 35 plus years later. Did you ever think that show would have the impact it has had over the years?
No, actually 40 years later, and I'm still amazed at, because I did a film with Rob Zombie, and he's this serious rocker and this mega rocker, but he is such a fan of what's happening. He was telling me the impact it had on him as a kid, and it blows your mind, Yeah, but I had no idea. I knew we were having a fun, and at that time people really loved it. But to think 40 years later that people, would have that, especially the hip hop generation, the Tupac Shakur I had a chance to meet, and he just hugged me with a bear hug, and Scarface and Snoop Dogg and Method Man and Redman and
wow.
Queen Latifah, MC Lyte. It was amazing to me how it impacted them. And Ice Cube, I had a chance to meet Ice Cube as well. It was just amazing to me, and all races, white, black, Jewish, whatever. They all, it was amazing that little show of 69 episodes had that impact.
You know what's funny too? When it came out on DVD a few years back, a lot of the shows from the the 70s or the 80s, when they've come out on DVD, you go back and watch them, and you're like, wow, this really didn't hold up, or it's just this is really just cheesy, and you can see the cheesiness. With what's happening, I remember sitting there and just watching it, and just having that same smile on my face as when I was a little kid, and thinking to myself, this show is just so funny. How could people not watch this show?
Thank you, man. Yeah, it's amazing that it comes on here in L.A. every Friday and Saturday. It's mind-boggling. It really is. It really is mind-boggling. When people just get so excited, when people see you and they start laughing immediately, just spontaneously, they start laughing, and they're so familiar with it, they grab you, they hug you, and that is, and someone said, well, you've been in my living room all these years, so it's like a member of the family,
Right,
and the whole
right.
cast, Fred Berry and Shirley and Mabel King and Danielle Spencer, Haywood Nelson. I think we just have some unique characters, It
was magic. It really was.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Wow. Now, with the show, another thing that really stands out with the show, even today, I catch myself saying lines from that show just out of the blue, with the littlest things, and probably the biggest one that really, I catch myself, just out of the blue. And you put it up on Facebook, and people just jump on that status. And it's no Roger, no rerun, no rent.
You know what? That one seems to be that, and which Doobie You Be.
Yes.
Is the one, because now, no Roger, no rerun, no rent. I've heard that from... oh God! I mean, oh God! So many. Well, Sammy Davis Jr. when I met him, That was the one that was his favorite. But also Allen Iverson, who I thought when I met him, I'm like, I know he doesn't know anything about what's happening, but I'll just say hello. And first thing he did was no Roger, no rerun, no. Like, you know, it is amazing. Yeah, no Roger, no rerun, no rent. Yeah, man. 40 years later, still.
Yeah.
And oh my God.
Every time you hear them on the radio, I just say, which doobie you be?
Right. Well, they tell me, they said that people come up to them, and they were interviewed on MTV, and they said people, they think that's what they're going to be remembered for. Not for all the platinum songs, but people are like, oh, you're on what's that?
Oh, that's so funny. And another big one, too, and it's whenever somebody gives me, like, a really big hug, I just, Mama, I can't breathe.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, I got so many of my big girls, my pleasingly plump women. They come up to me. They want me to say that to them, too.
Oh, that's classic. That's classic. Oh, that's so funny. Now, when I go through and I start researching and stuff like that to find out about you, like, how does a kid from Gary, Indiana, end up going to New York City to be in the Academy of Dramatic Arts?
Isn't that insane? That's just insane. And people thought I was insane, by the way, because how dare you have a dream like that? Being in the projects, who in the hell you think you are? But it was. As I tell, when we did the Unsung, they did an hour documentary on our show. I was telling them that, I went to college with the intent to be a social worker, and Jake Smith, who's still in Gary, Indiana, one of my best friends, I made him laugh all the time. That's how this whole thing started. I had no intentions, never thought in a billion years, that I will be. I love watching TV. I love going to see movies. Never thought in a billion years it would be me. He had this crazy idea because I made him laugh. I'm just acting silly all the time. That you should go into acting instead. And he kept pushing me, and that's how it all started through Jake. And I said, everyone needs a friend like that who believes in you more than you believe in yourself, but a belief that is so uncomfortable. Right? That is so uncomfortable. You talking about being out of your comfort zone, man. It was insane. And sometimes I thought I was going crazy. Like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? But then it paid off.
So you were always then like a person that enjoyed comedy, and then you end up going to this serious school.
Yeah. Right. Yes. Yeah. I just love, I used to watch all the greats, maybe you're kind of young, but the Phil Silvers show and, of course, Lucille Ball, but even back, Phil Silvers and before that there was Let's Make Room for Daddy, Danny Thomas, and I got a chance to meet Danny Thomas and let him know how much I love him. Of course, the Andy Griffith show and My Little Margie. There's some obscure sitcoms that people would never The Life of Riley. So I love and I had a chance to meet Lucille Ball too. So I grew up and yet I was at a church that forbid all. I was at Kojic, Church of God in Christ, which we were not supposed to really indulge in that, be in the world but not of the world. But that was my little thing. I had to watch. I just, especially being in the projects, you need a laugh, and
right.
You need all the laughter in the world.
So how did you after you got into school? I guess you pursued I guess you went to Hollywood or.
No, I actually went to the American Academy in New York, where Danny DeVito and Kim Cattrall, Spencer Tracy. It's like a who's who. It was the first English-speaking school and one of the top schools still in the world. And I never thought they would accept me. I just went. And again, Jake drove me to audition for them to be accepted. And I'm telling him, look, man, I looked at the roster of people that have been there. You know, I can't even compare. Why am I? But he said go, and again, he threatened to kick my butt if I didn't go in. And he had been in the Army. He was a veteran from the Army, and he said literally that you got to go in or else. So I went in, and I got accepted. You know, so then it was in New York. It was a 2-year program, and I did Broadway as well. You know, and I was really blessed to do it with two kings like the Harold Prince, who did, you know, Phantom of the Opera. I worked with him, and Tony Perkins of Psycho, you know, fame. He was doing his first directing thing. So those are my introductions. And Dan Freudenberger, who's unknown, but he was the first one that gave me a job, and I want to honor him. Dan Freudenberger was the first guy to hire me for a stage play.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh. So, how did you make that jump though from stage? Like, did you think you're going to end up doing TV, or did you think you're just going to be doing stage for a career? Or?
Yeah, I actually had, you know, I was a bit of a snob, and at that time, a lot of New York actors were like, you know, no, TV is like dumbing down and it's not quality, and you know,
right.
Stage. Theater is where it's at. You're on that. You're out there without a net, you know. And I had said to my, oh no, man, I'll never do television or film. I mean, I like watching it, but I want to be I want to stay true and et cetera. But then my folks could never understand. My mother and grandmother, when I was trying to tell them hey, I'm on Broadway, and my mother says, Broadway and what? I come and pick you up. And I could not. It was so fun. Broadway, people on stage, so you're sitting in the seat. You do the show, they applaud. You couldn't get it. So my grandmother understood TV. So she said, when you going to be on TV, baby? And I went, oh, Lord. So anyway, that kind of started it from there. And even though she passed away, before that, but that year that she passed away, I had a hunch and I came to California. That's when I decided to pursue it, and you know, and it happened. Thank God it happened quickly within a year.
Wow.
I was really blessed. Oh yeah, really blessed, and I hate it too, because you know the haters are out there. You know, yeah. So you know the people who thought, who are you? That they were more entitled, they had studied longer, they were more talented, they've been doing it since they were a baby, and why did Ernest Thomas get a show within a year? You know, and I said, because I had the faith in God. That's what it is. Whatever. And I have friends who are atheists, you know. I'm not hardcore, like, hey, I can't have good friends who love people, they give to charities. They're just atheists, you know. But for me, it was God in Christ. So I just said that's what worked, and it still is working for me.
That's awesome. So when you got the What's Happening gig, like, how quick did your life change?
Oh, my God, man. Woo! I had no idea, you know, because no one cares. You walk into a restaurant or whatever, no one cares. And then when the show comes, you know, everybody, they know you from the back of your head, okay? You don't even, they could be in the back of you. They know your butt, you know, like these. One time I said, well, look, I'm going to have a hoodie on, and I got the shades on, and I'm walking, and these girls are, hey, Rod, they're behind me. I'm like, wait a minute, how did you know it was me? They said, oh, your butt, you know, your butt. We see that butt every week. That's the honest guy too. That's the truth. Yes.
That's too funny.
Yeah.
Now, how close was the role of Roger Thomas to the man of Ernest Thomas?
It was very, very close because that ideal, and that's what I explained to people, that initially it was based on Cooley High, and Glenn Turman, incredible actor, so underrated, great actor. He did the role of Preacher Jackson, and what's happened is based on that. He was a little more street, playing the dice and the cards and stuff like that. And I just told them, I know that they did one episode where I played with the dice and the cards. But I said, look, guys, to me, this guy is everybody's best friend, every man's best friend, every woman's ideal husband or boyfriend, every teacher's ideal student, he's every man across all color lines and all that. And I didn't think they liked what I said, because they went, okay, well, thanks for sharing, whatever, but they did. But then they did change it and made him more of that, and that was closer to where I was,
Okay.
I mean, because I would get criticized in school for being happy. I would not associate as far as parties because of church, but I was always had a smile, and I was always happy and smiling, and people would criticize me for smiling all the time, being too happy. Even my mother, she said, baby, I think it's a sin to be too nice, because I was being thoughtful. I do things for my friends that would never do for me, but like that, And so Rod there was a lot of that in that I had. Actually, but I wish I could be Rod. Actually, I think he had a little more. He was even a little more over the top than I was. But but it was a lot of that there. And the fact that I had a single mother too, no father. And at least he saw his father. I never saw my father, but those similarities were striking.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, you had mentioned the episode when you were playing dice and all, and I just, one episode that always stands out to me is, and it's when I'm watching TV a lot, it was the episode where you wrote the script and you thought they stole your script for the show.
Yes.
And then it turned out that, Hollywood, rehashes the same stories over and over and over. And now every time I can pick one of them stories out, I always flash back to my mind to that metal filing cabinet in that episode with all the episodes that they just keep rehashing.
Right. And it's true. You'll see episodes from Good Times and Jefferson's and Happy Days. It'd be a lot of the same. Exactly. Of course, the actors are different, but but the same.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't even realize this whole behind the scenes thing going on where you and Fred Barry actually walked out at one point.
Yeah, we did. We had. It was about the dressing rooms, because people try to think it was about race or something like that, but it was never about discrimination or like that. It was just we wanted the dressing rooms to be nicer, and because they were really shabby dressing rooms, and we were top 10 show, and but it was dumb. It was a dumb thing, the way to do it. Yeah, but we're young, And you're like, okay, we'll walk out until you get. We had no idea the impact of that. You got a couple $100,000 that they spend on this show every week, and you're walking out on it, And that was a harsh lesson, because they had the whole arbitration where they had us basically on trial.
Wow.
And you had to agree never to do it. The producers forgave us, but we had to agree, if we came back, we had to sign a thing that if we ever walked off again, we had to pay $25,000 each. Yeah, so, but it was a lesson. And in hindsight, you would never do that again, but at the time, you're young and fully, just it was more important than we made it more important than it was. Yeah.
Right. Now, how much of a blow was it when Mabel King, who played your mom, when she left the show? Was it like a blow to the cast?
Yeah, it was, man, and oh man, how do I say it both ways, because Mabel was stubborn, and she wouldn't give in, because if she would just yield to them and not try to have control of the show and not make demands like I have to have script approval and I want X amount of salary, and you're talking to Bud Yorkin. This guy has, at that time, Sanford and Son, All in the Family, Good Times, Jeffersons, Maude. You just keep naming them. I mean, he top 8 shows on the Nielsen's were his.
Wow.
So he doesn't, he's like, I am the king, and she had an opportunity to just say, look, I'm gonna do it, but then she would not budge. So they went, okay, I'll have to let her go, and so it was you missed her, but at the same time, she just would not compromise,
Right.
And God bless her. I'm sure in hindsight, if she was here, God bless her and God rest her soul, if she had, could look at it again, But that was a tough one. Yeah. And
she had another classic line with the episode when Rerun joined the little cult with the head of lettuce, Ralph.
Right. Yeah, she stood out in that one. She did a little bit of the wind, you notice?
Yeah. Yeah, she had that big line at the end.
Huh?
She had the big line at the end, don't fool with Mother Nature.
Right. And remember, that was like Eveline in The Wiz,
Yes.
So, she enjoyed that. She loved that.
That's great.
Yeah,
that is
she
great.
loved that, man. Yeah. And she was she was so gifted. I saw her in The Wiz way before I was even thinking about coming, doing TV. I saw that thing about, I don't know how many times, man, So I was a big fan of hers, Yeah, big fan of hers.
That's great. So then, when the show gets canceled, for you, what kind of a blow is that? Because at one point, you're riding high with this top 10 show, and then next thing you know, you're like, now I need work.
Yeah. Oh my God, it was devastating, man. And just looking at what Lamar, and we're praying for him, that guy, man, it really brings tears to my eyes. Think about Lamar Odom being in his situation, and I know he was depressed and about his career and Chloe and all that, and that's what happened with me with the show. I indulged in the drugs, and it could have killed me. And I thought about when I saw him, I went, Lord, God, that could have been me, because I was, I would just go to a hotel by myself. So if I had OD, nobody would have known. I would have just, no one could have called 911. And now I had to go back to God, so I had just lost my way. But I did that several times. When what's happening now was canceled, same thing. I went back, and I even went, I went on a date. I was showing my date the hotels I would go to.
Wow.
And she's like, I can't believe, it's hard to believe that you actually did the pipe and the cocaine and all that. And I said, oh, yes. Don't let the smile fool you. I lost you with I didn't recognize myself, all right? It's bad when you don't recognize your own self, because I was doing that cognac and the mushrooms and the Quaaludes and the freebase, and you put all those together, and I'm thinking, God, wow, God, it's a wonder I didn't lose my mind. But at times you felt, because you see shadows, you think you're hearing voices, and it was crazy, man. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy.
Wow. Yeah, I remember I guess it was in the 90s. Fred Berry, I guess he was spending a lot of time here in the Philadelphia area. And there was a lot of stories in the local paper about him being in the area, and I think he had become a minister, maybe.
Yes, he did. He sure did.
And he was telling his story with the drug addiction and all, and I just remember being so blown away by that. Like, wow, like, but I mean,
oh yeah,
I
man, he
understand it now more that I'm older. That like, it's not just a show; it is your job. So
yes, and it's a high that people. It's such a high, man. To make contact with, because you really channel this other character in you, and then the whole world responds. At that time, being that there were only like 4 channels, so you had like a good 50 million people watching you.
Right.
And to know that, and everyone loves you, and you're getting deals on this, and you're getting deals on that. So when it goes, it's like you have a contagious disease. Once the show is canceled, it's like you got a contagious disease and nobody wants to be bothered. I'm talking about, that's like night and day, brother. And that's the honest God truth. It's like you have a contagious disease and nobody wants to be bothered. Nothing you say is funny. They don't want the small talk. And they just bring up the fact that your show was canceled over and over and over again, but you learn who your friends are, and then you learn who your frenemies are, and your enemies. And what I found out, the people I thought would be there for me weren't. And as I did a testimony at a church, and I said, with all due respect, the Christians weren't there for me. It was the pimps and the prostitutes who had affection for me. And they saw me walking on Sunset Boulevard, and, hey, Rob, what's going on? You need some money, man? You need this? And they would literally take care of me without needing anything, just so happy that the show was on, and the show was on twice, and they would just be happy and telling me, you're going to get another show, man. They gave me what the godly people should have been doing, But instead, they looked at me like I had a contagious disease. And I remember one lady in particular who was a friend really disappointed me with all her Christendom, her Christdom. She told me that you blew it, Ernie. Opportunity knowing that knocks once, and you blew it. You had your chance. And that was devastating for someone that I thought was a friend. She gave me nothing, Wow. So that was a lesson that the people that I would never think, a pimp and a prostitute, but they were the ones that gave me hope and never wanted anything from me for it, by the way.
Wow. Yeah, I know, like, when the show went off the air in 79, I was 9 years old. And for a kid who's, like, a big fan of the show and loved the show, it's like, well, where did they go? Like, they just disappeared. You know what I mean? It was like, I don't get it.
Sure. I can understand from your point of view. Absolutely. What happened?
Like, where did they go? Like, well, what's going on? Like, and then you don't see them pop up on another show or anything. You're like, wow, like, they were like part of your life.
Too.
Yeah. So, I can't imagine. It's so tough to have gone through.
And I wasn't a kid. Thank God I wasn't a kid. I think about Gary Coleman, what he went through, man, and Todd and other young lady from different strokes, and the other kid that committed suicide.
Right.
Can't think of the show he was on, but and man, because it becomes so, it becomes everything to you.
Right.
And then you realize, I know that, thank God I never thought about suicide, but I think you might as well, if you're going to drink, take mushrooms, cognac, creep face, you might as well, that's what you're doing.
Right. Now, to being on What's Happening, it led to them writing a role for you in Roots?
Oh, yeah, well, I auditioned for Roots, and for Kunta Kinte, it was between me and LeVar Burton.
Okay.
And, everybody was saying it's going to be me, and that was the thing. It's going to be Ernest, it's going to be LeVar, back and forth. And then they finally chose LeVar because Alex Haley, who wrote the book, felt he was more, close to his type, which he was. I mean, he's Haley is a thick guy, and his features, all his features fit more of more LeVar. I'm thin, I was 120 pounds. So, but I remember my screen test, which I wish I had kept that, but when the camera people come up to you and tell you they like something, because they don't have to, but when the cameraman comes up and tell you how great your performance was, because they literally have you in a loincloth as a slave, and they make like a boat, and you're chained. And that was the scene that I was doing, and I wish I had that now to look at, but I thought I had it, but I was good. I think LeVar, I don't think anyone else was supposed to do it but LeVar. I think that was the role for him, but they loved my performance so much they created a role in there for me. Well, I'm talking to him about circumcision. Yeah, that's why that I got in it. And of course, I was devastated at the time. I cried when I didn't get it, but I had what's happening. I was just greedy. I want it all.
That's too funny. Now, how about when they brought What's Happening back with What's Happening Now? How shocked were you and the rest of the crew?
Well, I actually wrote a treatment to bring it back, but I never. They turned me down. They said there was no audience for another What's Happening. They thanked me. They sent me a nice letter, but I dropped off a treatment to Sony, and so I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna still try to start a letter writing. a signature campaign. So I went to Gary, Indiana, and asked the mayor at that time, Mayor Hatcher, and he called a press conference. He was the first one to sign it. So I was gonna okay, I'm gonna see if I'm gonna make the fans. I'm gonna get them to demand the show come back. But then months later, I got my agent says, Ernie, are you sitting down? They want to do the new What's Happening. So it was crazy. Yeah.
Wow.
So they did their research and found we were more popular in reruns than when we were on ABC. Now that's incredible. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember watching every day when I would come home from school. It was on every day, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, would be on for an hour.
So you saw What's Happening and What's Happening Now, right?
Yes.
You saw both of them? Okay.
Uh-huh.
That's great. What did you feel? People don't talk about What's Happening Now. It's like, how do you feel about? What did you like them equally, or what do you?
I remember being so excited that you guys were coming back, but I felt like it didn't have the magic as the original.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, man, that's it. Yeah.
Now, how about you guys? Do you still remain in touch with Danielle and Dwayne a lot? Or
Oh yes, we do. Yeah. We were always close because she was 9, he was 15, and somehow they just loved me like a big brother,
Right.
And so they were always over at my house, and even until their adulthood, they would bring they want me, I want you to see my girlfriend, what do you think about her, or my fiance, what do you think about her? And that happened, even though they had their mother and their father, they still would want my opinion. So I was really blessed that they loved me like that, and we still, like I said, to this day are in contact.
Now, how is Danielle doing? Because the last I heard, she had just found out she had breast cancer.
Yeah, she went through some chemo and some of the holistic stuff, so she's healing. I haven't heard from her that it's all done, but I know she's she's going through all that to get rid of it.
Right. Yeah, I was shocked to find out too she became a veterinarian.
Yeah, people. She was a brainy. I see. She and Haywood both. They are bright, man. They're like A students, you know. And but I didn't think that. No, when I heard she was a veterinarian, I did the same thing. I went, what? What? Yeah, because that's a long time of going to school, you know. But she did it, man. And what a great role model I think that is for kids, because she didn't get drunk on the idea of B. She went on with her life, you know, and did something else, you know. I just think my thing is acting or some part of entertainment. I just love it, so I would always be involved some way, you know.
Right. Now, how about like when you you know, like years down the line when you're doing like a show like Everybody Loves Chris, or like you mentioned working with Rob Zombie on The Lords of Salem, does it, like, now that you're like older and you've been around the block, is it kind of weird because now people are kind of looking up to you because you've been there?
Yeah, that is. Yeah. Oh man, now you know. I'm you know, it's overwhelming, and every time I'm doing a set, like you said, you're on the set, and Rob Zombie is telling you how much, you know, it meant to him, and then Chris Rock is saying he wanted to be Raj, and he had to have me. He had to have me in the show, and yeah, you're like, huh? What? You know, and I'm not, you know, so full of myself to think, oh well, of course, you know. But I get that. I'm really always so grateful from every fan that recognizes me, to a celebrity like Rob Zombie and Chris Rock, give me that love and saying what it meant to them, and yeah, it now to be the old timer. Well, I don't like that word. To be the elder, and to live through it, and yeah, it's great to hear people say, "Oh, your timing, and you should teach a class on timing." And I said, I actually don't know why it just comes. I don't know how I could teach it, but I just thank God it's just there. I think it is a gift from God that my friend Jake told me about. I didn't know I had that gift, but it's great to, you know, for 4 years I was on Everybody Hates Chris, and that brought a whole new slew of fans internationally because it's more popular in Europe than it is even here. So Mr. Omar, it becomes like these kids, you know, these high school kids, junior high school, they're staring at you, and I'm thinking, who are they looking at? You know? It is me. Mr. Omar? Yeah, oh, man, oh, say tragic. You know, so that's the catchphrase for him, was tragic. And so they don't know anything about what's happening, but, man, they love Mr. Omar. Yes, Lord, yes.
Oh, that's great. That is great. See, I mean, you got blessed a couple times there where some people don't get that chance. You've had it a couple times. Just, unfortunately, we're so far spread out. Yes,
man. What a blessing. When that came, I'm like, wow, Lord, what is this? You know, I was crying because I don't know Chris Rock. I mean, he was like a friend. You know, I don't know him. He's like a friend to me, anything like that. I would see him in passing and say hello and all that, and and he would never say it, but it meant something. You know, he'd just say hi, nice to meet you. But who knew that it meant that much to him? That he would remember me to bring me on the show, you know, and create that role. He and Ali Leroy. Because Ali Leroy, the show wouldn't be anything without Ali Leroy, who was actually the showrunner and co-creator. That part was written for me. Come on, that's incredible.
Now, how about Hollywood is, they're always, and you read about it every day online, that they're going to redo a movie or a TV show. Would you be hurt if they decided to redo what's happening and not include, you and Danielle and Haywood?
Wow, that's a good question, man. Yeah, I think I would. I think so. Not, I mean, I know I can't be the kid anymore, but I think they should have us in there as probably the father, like that,
Right.
And yet I understand Hollywood, that they could do whatever. But yeah, I would be lying if I said I wouldn't be hurt. Yeah, I would be. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be hurt for you.
Yeah.
Now, something else too, which really has to be an honor, was I read that Muhammad Ali chose you to be a featured speaker on his World Hunger Tour.
Yes. I Muhammad Ali, man, is like, what a godsend, what a gift from God. I met him, I think it was 82. And, again, the show had been canceled, of course. It was canceled in 79. And but he just took me on his wings. And, money wasn't a problem, but he liked the fact that it was difficult for me to ask for money. So he would always tell me, well, hey, look, that's what I'm on earth for. I'm here to help. I got money to help you, so don't make it a big deal. But he really took me on his wings and gave me apartment, and paid for medical bills for my eye, and just a real godsend. And more than that, just being a friend. Really being a friend, letting you know that you are you're worthy of this. You're worthy, and you will be back. You're gonna it's gonna happen again for you. And just riding with him in his Rolls Royce, and then him taking me on the world tour, the Hunger Tour, where he wanted me to. And that's when I knew I was popular, really, because he would introduce me and the people would go crazy. I wouldn't have known that, being in a hotel room doing drugs. But Ali took me on that tour, and you have, some arenas, you had thousands of people, and I would come out, and the people would be just, it was overwhelming. He wanted me to see. He said, "You see what I'm talking about? I told you were loved, And I wouldn't have known that had I not did the World Hunger. I mean, that people see you in passing, but then, like I said, it seems like you have a contagious disease. But when you go out on the road, people that are not in Hollywood, oh my God, man, it was over. Oh God, they were jumping up, giving high five. They're doing the Raj laugh. They're doing the Raj dance, and they're staring at you. Oh my God! Yeah, they're doing all this stuff, and you're looking like, huh? Because I didn't know that was a big thing, the Raj dance and the Raj laugh, until I saw people repeating it.
That's got to be like almost being like in the Twilight Zone, because on one hand, where you're in Hollywood, you're trying to find work, and nobody will even give you any type of attention or anything, and they just keep, like you were saying, your show was canceled, your show was canceled, your show was canceled.
Yeah.
But yet if you go on the other side of town or the country or wherever, people know you as Raj, and you're loved and adored. Yeah. It's like, well, why can't that happen in Hollywood? Why can't they love you too? It's so weird.
It is. No, you absolutely. I'm not lying. It is. You could night and day. You go to Ohio. Again, they treat you like a contagious disease here. But you go to Ohio, you go to Indiana, you go to Michigan, you go to Tennessee. Even the southern states, Mississippi. Where we know was the bedrock of racism at one time. But you have these white girls and white guys, teens, like just loving you and grabbing you and holding you, and what it meant to them in the show. And it's contrast, to LA. It's like night and day. But the people out there, just when you go to the just everyday people that are not in Hollywood, they really show you. And like I said, even in I had the blessing to meet Loretta Lynn. For, of course, the coal miner's daughter, and I had seen that movie and just hugging her, and just in Nashville, just to get all that love there, and it was amazing to me that everyone knew that show. People
Absolutely.
just know that they love that show, and the Latinos from the Spanish Harlem, just walking in Spanish Harlem, not going to visit a friend, not thinking anything, and all of a sudden people are coming out of there. Someone sees me, spots me, starts yelling it out, and he's speaking in Spanish and English about what's happening. I don't know what the Spanish is saying, but I know it's love. And then people are coming out of the building. They're coming out of the building and they're just, oh, you're this, it's like you're like a king, and it's like, huh? What? And again, I had to get out of Hollywood to see, and again, Ali helped a lot with that. But then when I would just be visiting someone, I had no idea. Then you realize the people that you help. Like one lady in Atlanta who was a white waitress said that she hated blacks. She said, I was a racist because my parents were, so I was taught that. And then she channel surfed and she saw what's happening. Her folks aren't there. She channel surfed and starts watching it and starts laughing. And she would sneak and do that, okay? And she said it wasn't an overnight thing, but it chipped away at it, then she became born again, and she said, so that was the beginning of the break, from the racist, from her racist past. And you see people that learn the English, learn how to speak English. I met a guy from Italy, said I would watch the show, and that's how he learned how to speak English. And people who were going to commit suicide, that said it meant something to them, or they were depressed. Women that were being battered by their husband, I think the show literally saved lives. And I'm sure we're not the only show, but I know for a fact that what's happening saved lives.
Well, I'm going to give you a quick laugh, too. Actually, he's being very quiet. But I do actually have a co-host, and his name's Nick. And he is, a huge just TV fan. He just loves television. The guy watches, and this is no exaggeration, he watches close to 100 hours of TV a week. And,
oh, my God.
Yeah. And on Sunday nights, we do another show where it's called TV Nation, and we just talk nothing but we talk the week in TV for ourselves, and we just, talk old shows of the past and memories and stuff like that.
Oh, that's awesome.
But one of the funny things is, when we first put the show together, over 2 years ago, I went through my Rolodex in my head, and I pulled out show theme songs that would be our intros and outros from our commercial breaks. And here is one of them. And this was not just for you. This has been in our system for 2 years.
Oh, my God. That's music to my ears. Oh, man. Wow.
Great.
Well, thank you. Thank you. That is great, man.
But I know Nick wanted to ask you a couple questions as well.
Okay, sure.
Well, it's funny. I don't know if they're questions or just kind of these statements, but a lot of what he was just talking about it really sort of rings true to me because I was born in '79, so I caught everything later on reruns, and we still had just 3 or 4 channels, and it was something that me and my brother would watch together, and I think that you're right because the show really. It stands the test of time because it was so new and it broke so many barriers and it was first in so many ways. TV is really repetitive these days, but back then everything that you guys did was new and every topic that you guys touched upon to me, growing up in Philly and as a poor white kid, it wasn't a black show to me. It was just a show.
Yes, man. Yes, and that's
really
what we got.
Yeah, it was just to me. You said there were shows out there that saved lives, and I totally agree with you, because this show to me, I mean, I put it up there with Happy Days and the Brady Bunch. It still is an amazing show, and the performances weren't just comedy. There was, what I mean. There was some deep writing there, and it really was just one of a kind.
Thank you, man. Yes, I agree that we had. Oh man, definitely wasn't. I think it was an everyman show. I definitely think
absolutely.
that. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's funny you say that, because a friend of mine called me today and he was like, "Wow, I can't believe you have Ernest on." He's like, "You got to just say this." He goes, I was a Jewish kid in Northeast Philly growing up, and I remember watching that show as a kid. He goes, and I really didn't know about the black community and stuff like that, because I'm in this little Jewish neighborhood, and we just stayed to ourselves. But he goes, that's the way. He goes, that watching them grow up on TV was what I just thought it was like growing up as a kid.
Oh, right. My God. That's beautiful. Wow, that's beautiful. That's beautiful, man. Yeah, I met a lady at the airport who was Jewish, and she told me, she said, "Look, I'm Jewish, but Raj reminds me of my nephew." So I thought, oh, okay, good. Okay, that's great. That's great.
So what are you doing now? Oh, I'm sorry, Nick.
Well, I did since then. Well, I did Malcolm X, and then I did Chocolate City. Most recently, though, I did Chocolate City, but I kept my clothes on. Yeah, that's the Chippendale. The Chippendale. It's like a Black Magic Mike. So I'm a restaurant owner in there, and they're just about to shoot Chocolate City 2, actually next month, because the guy who financed it, he actually told me, he says, I wanted more of you in that first one, so they're trying to put more of me in the second one. And then I just did a play with Kelly Price and Loretta Devine, and actually going to repeat that again, because Stevie Wonder loved the play. It's got great soul music, and it's like a tribute to the R&B music of the past, and it has a great storyline, and so that's called Soul Cafe. I just did a short film called Earworm, and that's a young lady, a young filmmaker. That was a 12-hour shoot, no words, just this elderly guy by himself, like a horror thing. And it was the hardest I've ever worked. I really tried to get somebody else to do it, but she wanted me, but it was a challenge, and I'm glad I did. So that'll be coming out, because that's called the Earworm. And then I'm also doing this Saturday a fundraiser for a friend, Lorraine Romero. She has cancer, so we're raising money for her treatment, her cancer treatment. So I've been all on Twitter and Facebook and trying to get people to make donations, and that'll be Saturday. And then on my own, soon you'll be hearing about a movie called Blazing 4, and it's a comedy western, and so that should be out. I think about probably next year. I co-wrote that. Called The Blazing 4, and so those are that's what's going on. Yeah,
there is a little bit of Roger Thomas in you as being a writer.
Absolutely, yes, a lot of that, and a lot of I love to help the younger kids, to advising kids, on their careers. I love that, if anyone stops me on the street, we'll go to Starbucks in case they're crazy and want to kill me. We'll go to. Hey, you never know. I went, oh no, we're not going to my place. Oh no. So I take them to Starbucks. And that's been great to see these kids, these proteges who are now doing their own. Several of them got their own movies they're doing. One kid was sleeping in the car with he and his wife, and now he just got to deal with NBC. And
oh wow,
I think they're like my children to me now. And so it's great to see that. And I love doing that. I love helping people.
Right.
It's such a high. Yeah, it really is a high. Yeah. It can wear you out, but it's you do need to go get away and recuperate. But yeah, it's a great feeling.
Now, something else you did that really seemed interesting was I saw you wrote a book with your mother.
Oh, thank you. But yeah, it's called Conversations with My Mother, and we're actually I have the audio version that we're going to be uploading for sale. Ella Joyce, I don't know if she did The Rock, that with Charles Dutton. She said she's on. She actually does my mother's words, and so we did that together. So that will be coming out this year. Conversations with my mother, and I was rushing to get that out because Mom, I know she's getting up in age, and then she actually did. We almost lost her, and 6 months in the hospital, and the doctor said no good news. But I just said, by the grace of Christ, we prayed. I had the prayer warriors all on Facebook, Twitter. Everybody praying, and so she's here, getting on my last black nerve, but I'd rather her do that than to be gone, So it's that was quite a situation to go through. And so now I make it a point to visit my friends' mothers, even though some friends we don't even speak anymore, but I still have a relationship with the mother and go over and see how she's doing because I realize how they're neglected,
Right.
When I went to the hospital, I found out the doctors told us it is rare that someone comes like I did, like I would come and see my mother every day. Most of the time, the patients who are elderly who are brought there in critical care unit, they die alone. And that was, I had no idea. Yeah. So that's another thing that my goal was to do a thing where it starts a charity where we can get people to volunteer and be like that substitute child or son or daughter, just to spend time with them.
You're an incredible person, Ernest. You really are.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you.
That's incredible. Wow.
Yeah. I have incredible constipation and gas, but other than that, if you were around me, you wouldn't say incredible then, but...
it's too funny.
But thank you, man. Thank you.
Hey, it's something else, too, which I don't even know if you want to answer this one, but you worked with Bill Cosby in the past. You got to be blown away by the whole thing that's going on with Bill right now.
Oh, my God, man. I just did a radio thing, and the guy was asking me when I talk about it. I said, I'll talk. It's so hard because you're torn several ways, for the women themselves, of course, and for the man that you admired, who's just, all your life. Like I was a kid watching Bill Cosby, I Spy, and you look up to this black man on television, it was quite a role model just to see him play an intelligent part. He won an Emmy for it, and he was doing the stand-up comedy. He was wealthy. He just, it was just people admired him. And I did do Piece of the Action with him, with Sidney Poitier, James Earl Jones, and that was incredible. I mean, Sydney, I was my main. Was over everybody, but he was number one. But definitely Bill Cosby was in there, and man, it's a thing like you hate. You would hate to know that you're. I know I have a friend that her father molested her and her sister since they were 5 years old, and when they got 18 and they went to college, that's when it ended. And she still can't even tell her mother or grandmother. Her grandmother's favorite child is the father, right? So How do you say the unspeakable? How dare you say that? How can you tell the grandmother that the son she loves, your father, is having sex with his daughter from the time she was 5 to 18? People do unspeakable acts, And all I do, I feel sorry for him. I do feel sorry for him. I feel that at this age, with all that he's done and being America's father, but at the same time, I know one of the girls that I know one of the people, so I know that's she has no reason to tell anything. She didn't even speak up until everyone else spoke up.
Right.
She put hers on Facebook. She didn't even say it took all that time. When I saw her do it, I went, okay, wow, now it's gotten real, And so I just wish that I know we are so unforgiving about things, but I hope and pray. I wish he would simply say, I made a mistake. I was young. I was, getting high or high on ego or whatever, and some of the women did, want to have sex with him or whatever, but you still got to go about it, you don't have to drug them to get it done. So I feel sorry for him. At the same time, 50 women, 40 women,
Right.
It is what it is. If it was my father, I would still say the same thing. It's, you don't want, and you'll be there, and you speak of the good, and there's a lot of good. He gave money to charities. He gave money to colleges for kids' education. I'm sure a lot of people became lawyers and doctors because of him. However, you're not entitled, you're not entitled to do whatever, you want to do. So I'm hoping and praying that he would just say, I didn't do all those people. Some of those women are lying. That could, could be. But all of them can't be. So I just wish he would say, crucify the ego, and just say, it's like people don't want me to say I do drugs. I mean, there are people, my friends, that don't want me to ever say, they want me to have this clean image and never say I was on a free base and I did mushrooms and I was butt-ass naked in a hotel, and I went, but you know what? That's the truth. I'm setting myself free, and some people, they just don't want to hear it. I'm not lying. They don't want to hear that. They don't want to know that,
I'll tell you what, I never knew that about you, and you shocked the hell out of me when you said that earlier. But you said it right there. You're saying the truth, and it was real. I mean, this is what happens to, unfortunately, people. People end up getting depressed and go down that road.
Absolutely. I'm not proud. I wish I hadn't done it. I wasn't. I went to the church and all that. You would never think a person who went to church as much as I did, but I played hooky from God, basically, and I stayed there a long time. A long time. I actually stayed at the drug dealer's house at one point. I actually moved there with he and his wife. This is real. This is real stuff. Where you have dark circles under your eyes. You can't even you don't recognize yourself. You look like somebody else. It's the worst thing in the world when you look in the mirror and you don't recognize yourself.
Right.
I'm being high on Quaaludes at the Roxy, and on the Sunset Strip. I was on Quaaludes for the first time. I had never taken Quaaludes. I didn't know they would make you weak. and they'd be like, Rod? You know, I couldn't even, couldn't respond. I was so embarrassed and couldn't do nothing about it, couldn't explain nothing to anyone. I'm just high on Quaaludes. And I'm sure those people have that memory burnt in their minds, And so, I did even some embarrassing things that, got getting drunk in a bar with gin because I drank some gin, and I never drank gin and again because it made me want to confront people. Hey, you owe me some money. You owe me money. Okay, Ernie, but what is this? We're in a club, man. No, give me my damn money. So,
wow.
Then the police had to come, and like I say, it was some terrible things. I mean, they're friends who tell their children, I used to get hired this guy, man. He could outdrink everybody. Everyone would be out. He'd still be up, and how much drugs I could do and all that. But that's nothing to be proud of. But I'm just saying, I wish I had a squeaky clean thing like that. I never did anything. That's just not true. And I think Cosby, you're not that. You are a good person that went astray because you had good parents, mother and father. You went to Temple University, all that stuff, and your comedy was clean. And you got to own up to your faults, own up to the ugliness that we all have. We all have some ugliness and things we're not proud of. But you can overcome that and admit you're wrong. I would just give each one of those women a couple million each, and give money to the women's charity for battered women and women who have been who are victims of rape, sexual trafficking, and I'm sorry. And I think a whole new thing would happen for him. It's not going to go away.
No.
Not with Gloria Allred. Not with Gloria Allred on board.
No.
So that's what he should do. Yeah.
I really think he's just going to go into hiding, and that's going to be it.
Oh, you're probably right. You're probably right. I don't think he'll ever admit. No, I think he'll just go into hiding. Yeah. Shame.
Wow. Well, this has been such an incredible hour of my life.
Oh, I'm glad, man. Well, you're one of the best interviews I've ever had, by the way.
Well, thank you. That means
I'm not lying. This
is
the honest God truth. No, it's one of the best interviews because usually I have to pull everything out of it. It's like you guys, and your questions were different too. It was this whole. I know that you really are true fans of that of what's happening, and so that's what comes across too, as opposed to just doing I got to interview this guy for the show and let's get it over with. I know you. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Thank you guys. Thank you. Yeah.
Such a fit. What night of the week was it on? I was trying to think of this earlier. I was like,
Thursday night at 8:30.
I was going to say, was it Thursday nights?
Because Welcome Back Carter was 8:00, and then we came on at 8:30.
That's what it was. They never made dolls of you guys, did they?
They didn't. Danielle found someone that made a doll of her, but I don't know. I think someone just did that on their own. But no, we never had the merchandising, which they really missed out on because you had such definite characters with Raj doing the laughter, and then Fred Berry with the beret and then the locking moves, and then Haywood and then Raj give me a quarter, and I looked, and one lady wanted to invest in it later. She was going to invest in it, but I think they wanted too much of the profit, but she wanted to do and that was during the rerun. She wanted to invest in it, and I think it would have been a gold mine, but the Columbia wanted too much of the profits. I think even now, if they would do that, I think it would be impactful,
I think so.
But we never had a Raj doll Fred reruns all, which is amazing. I just can't believe they missed that opportunity. You know.
What did you think the first time you saw Fred dance?
Oh my God, man! My mouth was open. My mouth was wide open. Like, how is this possible? That, you know, I know he was close to 300 pounds. You know, and just to see him move like that, I had never seen anything like it. Yeah, I know it. And I told I was in awe of Fred Berry. You know, 'cause I saw the Lockers before I even got the show. Watched the Lockers. And yeah, I was in awe. Yeah, really in awe of him, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Mabel King could dance too. Now, Mabel King, remember, she was in Eveline. She was Eveline in The Wiz. She's another person very agile for the weight that they carried. You know.
Yeah, and somebody who we haven't mentioned, and we really do before I let you go, is Shirley.
Oh man, we sure didn't. Oh my God. Oh, man, that's my baby. She loved me. Now, the thing about Shirley, she's brutally honest, so you don't want her around friends. Because she'll tell them everything you ever said. That's the only thing. She thinks that's funny. It's not. You know? But her passing of the kidney, she had a kidney thing, and but I would mention friends who were haters and who owed me money. So when they came out to visit from Gary, you know, and I said, these are my friends from Gary, and I mentioned their names, she said, oh, yeah, y'all the ones that owe money. Y'all never paid them the money back, right? Or she would tell people she knew that I was helping because, you know, my mother said I was overly nice, being too nice. And she said, oh, y'all stop. Y'all know y'all taking money from the boy. You're stealing from the boy. You know he ain't going to say no. You know, don't keep asking for money. He ain't going to ever say no. You have some mercy on the time. So she would just say stuff like that, and they know I've been talking about them, you know. So that's the only thing. But funny. Oh my God, man. Oh my God. But like I said,
I was thinking of the episode where Dee was doing the commercial for Bridge Burgers, and she was playing your mother.
Oh my God. Oh, Lord have mercy. I love that. I'm thinking about it now. I can see that one right now. I would like to watch that right now. I love that. Yeah, that was so much fun. I couldn't believe we got away with it. My favorite, Doobie Brothers #1, and then I would say I do love the No Roger, No Rerun, No Ranch. I also like the one when Fred joined the cult, when he done the Baba Rambaba people and worshiped the head of lettuce.
Shalaloom, shuck, shuck.
I love that one. And I like the Veggie Burger one, too. I did love the Veggie Burger one. I love the Veggie Burger one. Yeah, that definitely is up there. And, God, I'm trying to think of that. The Christmas, there was a Christmas one, too, that I loved. And the one about the kid, the guy, it was about racism because he was he was in the Negro Baseball League. He was in the hospital, and he didn't speak to his daughter because she was married to a white guy. So I thought that was a great show, you know, a great message in there. Yeah, and those. I like Roger, the older woman. I like that one too, where I thought she had feelings for me. I enjoyed that when they were letting me do a little more, a little more stretching, and not just the comedy. I thought that was a great one as well. I had a lot of fun with that. And the one with the Lockers too.
Yes.
Yeah, I love that one. That one was. And the
Four Rockets and a Moon.
Yes, Stu Gilliam. God bless him, man. I don't know if he's still here, alive or not, but yeah, that was his line. I remember that so well. And the people that came, Shabba-Doo, he went on to do something else, and Vince Van Patten and went on to do 8 Is Enough. He was in the Bridgeburger thing,
Right.
Yeah, and then Irene Cara, that was another good one. Irene Cara went on to fame and all that, but I love that one as well. And
what was the one where the guy was holding like the hostage or something like that?
Oh, wait a minute.
He had you up in your bedroom.
Yes, the guy. Yeah, it was the pen pal thing.
Yes.
I love that one. I love that.
And he was so stupid. Yeah. Oh, that was a classic.
He was, and I get as a young man, because my email's on the Facebook on my web page, and he sends me all the shows. He's watching the show all the time, even though he's 30-something, whatever. He watched the show back, the reruns, and now he's still. And he talked about that particular episode where I was in the soccer, at the soccer shorts. That was really hilarious, and that guy was very funny who played the dumb criminal.
Yeah.
He was hilarious. I love that one. Yeah, man, and they're I think about that because I am writing from Rod Church's my autobiography, and that's the thing I'm trying to look for. What are my favorite episodes, and trying to do the behind the scenes of each one of those.
Oh, nice.
And so that's one of the things that the editor who read the first draft, she said, no, people. Yeah, we like that you grew up and all that, but people want to know pop culture stuff, about the shows themselves, the day-to-day, and how you guys interacted as friends, and after the show and all that, and so that's something I'm working on as well,
I can't wait for that.
Yeah, man. So that's really wow. Just think about that. And Bud Yorkin recently died. Who was the creator, and he and Norman together. But and I thanked him on Facebook, and I might have said it before, but I just said it, again in memoriam to him, that he chose me, because there are a lot of people up for that role, a lot of my friends who felt they were more of a Raj type, because one guy his father worked for NASA, and he had glasses, he wore black glasses like that already, and he graduated from Boston University, and was on Broadway and all that. He really thought he would get it, and I remember that a guy that was like a black Jerry Lewis, who I remember auditioning with, and I thought, this guy's going to get the part. He had such a rubbery face. He was so animated, and like I said, if you can imagine a black young Jerry Lewis, right?
Right.
I went hands down. I just went home depressed. Like this guy, and I wonder about him, and like, what happened to that guy? I hope he didn't get discouraged, because he's so talented, and. So yeah, you think about that of all the people that out of the 200 actors, they say about 200, they went through to the major inner cities trying to find that guy,
Wow, that's incredible.
And,
that really is.
Yeah, man. So
wow.
So thank God I still here, and of course, I miss Fred and Mabel and Shirley, and my father, Thalmus Fasulala, who played the father. He doesn't get a whole lot of recognition, but he was a good guy, and I thought that part was great for him too. Yeah.
Him and James Amos from Good Times. They were fathers like I looked up to, because they had that stern side to them, but they had that fatherly side as well.
Absolutely, man. Yes, I totally agree. Yeah. And for me, it not having a father, never meeting him, have no idea what the man is like. That was like surreal for me, So I said, well, at least I have it in a world of make believe. So, and he was really trying to be that even off screen, He was trying to be that, and he was telling me how he felt that way, And in hindsight, I don't think I was the best son. I was kind of distant, because it was just unusual and there's nothing he did. I just felt uncomfortable,
Right.
Trying to be a son to him, and I know he had sons, but I wish I had just been more open, because he invited me to his house, and he was being affectionate. He would just hug me, he'd embrace me and kiss you on the jaw, and he saw me I kind of grimaced a little bit, and he went, "Oh, I'm sorry." I went, "Oh, well, no, it's okay." I just wasn't used to it, but you can kiss me. But it was that type of stuff that is so damn awkward, like, oh, man, the moment is gone, But I think about that, how he was really reaching out to me. But, when as Dr. Angelou said, when you know better, you do better,
Yeah.
And but he was a good guy. Yeah, I miss him too.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I mean, I know when as time went on and they passed away, and I would hear about it, I felt like I lost a piece of me. So I can't imagine, for you. I mean, they were truly part of your life.
Oh, absolutely. Oh my God, man. You just don't see that happening. I know that's kind of foolish not to, but you just don't see them going,
Right.
And so yeah, it's overwhelming to be at the funeral, but then you watch TV, like watching. So on YouTube you'll see the episodes. I said, let me go and watch an episode. That's before it came on, and I went, oh man, I'm laughing before I know it. You forget they're gone, and it is such an unbelievable feeling to know that they're there talking and laughing and being funny, and I think it is a form of immortality, the reruns. I think that to see someone, thank God for film and TV that you can see them as they were alive and talking and happy,
Mhm. Now, did I see something too that people were upset with you for going to Fred's services or something?
Yes, yeah, because we had there were friends of mine who, Fred, before he became born again, he had, Fred had done some really Judas sort of things. We had a record deal with MCA to do like a song, some funny songs like that, and with the three guys, like the Three Stooges, and he was, I had gotten a deal and with another guy, my manager, and so Fred was like, oh, okay, I'm all on board. Now, nowhere, he just like, oh, no, I don't want to be involved because you're going to get most of the money and you're trying to trick me. Just because that was the drugs talking,
Right.
And Fred, they're going to give us the same amount of money. They don't, why would they, I'm not a singer. Why would they give me something more? It's all on paper, and he still would not listen. So that's when Danielle had to come in. That was a song called "What's Happening Now, Peace," and there were just other things. Him, trying to give me some PCP before the show started one time. So I would have gone. Thank God his friends were there to grab the PCP out of my hand. But and then him wanting to empty his $1 million deal. With What's Happening Now. And that's why Martin Lawrence came along, because Fred demanded money, and they and pissed him off so bad they let him go, and that's why Martin Lawrence was hired. So when he died, my friend said, "I know you're not going to go to his funeral." I said, "Yes, I'm going to his funeral." His son asked me to officiate it, and I went, "Okay,
oh, wow.
I would, But and also Fred had made amends by then too, But even if he hadn't, I would have gone. I really would have. But he had made amends. We were at a charity in North Carolina somewhere, and he came to the hotel rooms. Ernie, I'd like to talk to you. And he said, "Ernie Byrne, I'm so sorry, man. I did this. I'm so sorry." He just named things over the years and how he was wrong. And then I knew he was going to die. To me, that was a sign that something was not right,
Right.
Yeah, for him, but because you try to get your life together. Not that it wasn't a sincere apology, but when you're about to go, you really try to make amends, and and it wasn't that long after that, And a friend actually called me like upset that I would go because he did this, and I said, "Where is forgiveness, man? Where is forgiveness? Good Lord. Everybody's so people do make mistakes. It's like I can't believe we can't allow anyone to make even horrific mistakes and say they're sorry and become a new person, it's like I just still a lot of that is going on, You
right.
can't make if you do it's like forever there's a stigma on your even like I said, when I stopped doing the drugs, even now 26 years later, you'll see a friend with his son, and he's gonna remind me again, like, "Oh, back in the day," I'm like, "Brother, every time I see you, you bring up the same thing." I have to finally tell him, that's gone. So I maybe makes you look bigger in your son's eyes, or what, I don't know what it is. But I let him go. I just said, finally, what I'm going to do, you lose my number, I'll lose yours. And I thank God for all the good things you've done, and I did a lot for you. Let's call it a day. So I'm going to let you off here on this trip of my life, and move on. Because at some point you have to excommunicate all negativity.
Yeah.
Even those who you were close to at one time, they can't go. They don't have the moral character or the loyalty, to stay with you on the rest of the journey. And that was a difficult decision. And I got rid of several people. And they cursed me out, but I was nice to them when I said, "Look, you've been excommunicated. I am the Pope." Like the Pope. I'm excommunicating. And then they really get upset. You're not no Pope, brother. And but anyway, it's better. My life is much better when I just stop pretending people are what they used to be.
But I bet if you did that, though, your life, it was probably like you had like a load taken off your shoulders.
Oh, my God, man. You don't realize it till you do it. You're like, oh, man, I am so glad,
Yeah.
I am so glad. Yeah, and I just, and I told, when I talked to the kids at the colleges and schools, I said, this is the hardest thing for you guys to do, because you're so fond of your little friends and your little buddies and all that, and that's all cute back then, but at some point in time, you got to ask yourself, are they on your team?
Right.
Are they for your well-being? Are they wishing you the best? Are they encouraging you to be your best? And it's not funny if they're putting you down.
Right.
And you're gonna have to make that decision. And once you do that, and stop trying to be nice, because that's a healthy thing to do. You're looking out for your mental and psychological health, and it was the best thing. And then it has to be family members. Some have to be family members. One was my college roommate.
Wow.
And my fraternity brothers and the other frat brothers were calling me hey, man, you can't do that. Greg and you were roommates. And I said, man, it's done. I don't want to have this conversation again. Life is short. This is not a dress rehearsal. So if you're not on board with my dream, you're gone. It's that simple. I don't wish you any harm, but no, I'm not going to pretend you're something you're not. I don't want this to have the discussion again. I wish you all the best. God bless, and bye. And they can't even accept that. You're not cursing them out. You're not raising your voice. But again, people are so used to doing the same old. And I think that's majority. That's probably 60-70% of the people in the world.
Right.
We people please. You people please, and not. You need to take inventory of who's around you. And that's some hard. Yeah, and your life will change. I'm telling you, you'll be more productive. More blessings will come. And I swear. But it was hard for me because I was a people pleaser. I was such a people pleaser. It was hard for me. Even when I was telling them that, when I got off the phone, I felt bad, but I had to go through it. And then in the long run, you feel great. But there's that moment, like a death. It's like a death in the family.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Well, this has been just. I agree. I unfortunately had to do it at one point with my sister.
Really? I understand, brother. I know that had to be tough.
It was tough, and the whole time we were not in communication for like 2 years. It really was kind of wonderful and I hate saying it.
Yes, no, I understand.
And then she was sick, and then she got really sick. And actually, the first time we talked was she found out she had leukemia and didn't have long, and she called me up. And she passed away a few weeks later. And she was living in Arizona. I flew out to Arizona and spent a few days with her, and we made our amends. And
that's awesome, though, man. But that's wow, man. That's a tough one. That's a tough one.
Yeah.
But you were right to do what you did for your health. I
trust me.
Yeah.
Yes.
I have no idea, right?
You no idea. No idea. Wow.
Yeah, man.
So, Ernest, this has been unreal. I can't thank you enough.
You too, man. I feel like I'm talking to an old friend, and I know I haven't seen your face or anything, but it's like I really do. I'm so relaxed. It's like I'm talking to a friend that we used to go to college or something together, and I know you're young, but that's how it feels,
Well, I consider us friends because I grew up with you. So you were in my living room for many years.
That's right, man. Now, where are you located, though, just before we get off? Where are you?
Philadelphia. I'm right outside.
Philadelphia?
I'm right outside of Philadelphia, right where I'm literally like not even 10 minutes away from where Fred was spending a lot of time in Chester. He was in Chester, Pennsylvania, and I am right outside of Chester.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna give you my info. When I come to that area, man, I'm gonna give you a holler. Yeah,
absolutely.
I'll give you a holler. We can have some breakfast or something,
Absolutely.
And my number is 626.
I got the number.
Okay.
I don't want you to
you
get
have
it
it
here.
Oh, Lord.
Oops.
Okay. Yeah, man. But that would be great, man. That would be great.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I'll tell you what,
awesome.
when we finally do meet, I'm going to give you one of them big hugs, too.
Me too. Yeah, man. That would be awesome. That would be awesome.
Well, before I let you go, if I can just get you to cut an ID for me.
Sure.
This is Ernest Thomas, and you're listening to Totally Driven Radio.
Okay. Hi, this is Ernest Thomas. Mr. Omar, everybody's Chris, Rod to What's Happening, and you're listening to Totally Driven Radio.
Oh, that was so great. Oh, thank you so much.
You got it,
that was awesome. That was awesome. Now, is this your cell phone number?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Okay. I'll shoot you a text with my number so you got it.
Okay. Oh, great, man. Thank you, man. This has been awesome. Thank you for blessing me up tonight. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for getting back to me with the answer to my email, and, whenever you're ready to come back on and promote whatever, the door is always open.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
Well.
Oh, that's it? Okay, my friend. All right. Well, you have
care,
a super nice weekend. You take care.
You too.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Wow. I'm blown away right now, Nick. Blown away.
It was like the scene from Step Brothers. You guys were just like, did we just become best friends? What a great interview.
I'll tell you what, if we were West Coast time, we'd be talking for another 2 hours.
Dude, I'm telling you, when I hit you up in the private chat, and I was like, dude, this is a great interview. Like, that was 100%. I didn't need to come on. Like, I was just listening. He had so much to say.
And he didn't hold back. Like, he was open about stuff.
Absolutely. Oh, man. That was much like our other, classic TV interviews. I mean, just knocked it out of the park. You know what I mean? Like, just open and honest and revealing and in depth. Just, it was everything I knew it was going to be.
You know what? The interviews when we get like those classic TV icons like that, but and I said it to you in the chat, just hearing his voice, after hearing him on TV for so many years and being a fan of that show and hearing his voice, and even that laugh he just did at the end,
yep.
I mean, it gives you chills.
That's pretty crazy.
I'm blown away. I am blown away.
These interviews, these are the type of interviews that revitalize everything. You know what I mean? Like, it makes all the effort and all the tired nights and all the angry posts worth it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Oh, man. That was something else.
And to have him say, like, that it was a good interview, it is just whenever I think of saying, why am I doing this, then somebody like that says that, it's like, that's why. Because people believe. I mean, they enjoy us.
Absolutely. We hear time and time again, I hear people getting on here and saying this was a great interview. You asked questions that aren't the same questions everybody asked. You knew what you were talking about. It was engaging. It was fun. He's not the only one. Heck, he might not be the 10th person that said it was like sitting down talking to a friend.
Right. And I felt like I wasn't even
prepared
for it enough.
You did. You said it to me. I asked you. Yeah, I said, are you excited? And you're like, no, dude, I don't think I'm prepared. But when it hits like that, it's just, you know what I mean? It's magic.
It really is. Wow.
It's way past your bedtime.
It is way past my bedtime, and I'll be up in 5 hours. And I'll still be blown away.